Let's see what happened in 2011. Why 2011? Because the statistics are frozen, and so we have all definite data. So it was our record, the best year ever. And we reached more than 160,000 robots worldwide. If we have a look to the robot density, still the Republic of Korea and Japan are at the top, followed by Germany, and then Italy, Sweden, and Denmark, and all the rest, all the other countries. The average is 55, and this 55 is important if we compare what happened in all the other, let's say, emerging markets. All these emerging markets are below this density. So what does it mean? It means that we have a lot of room of growth in this country. And we also think in the next forthcoming years, the growth will continue, and we estimate that around 2015, we will arrive to a total supply superior of 200,000 robots. Before we start the discussion, I pass the podium to John Dulchinos to present a preview of a very important study.
I would like to just preview a study that we have, the IFR has conducted, or asked a research firm to conduct on the use of robots and how they create jobs in the world economy. From a background standpoint, it's put on by Metra Martech, based in London, has done specialist in market research, been doing it for over 50 years, and has very relevant experiences that allow them to be able to be a good, credible source for information. The study will be published, focused on the factors that are affecting robot use, employment in manufacturing, effects of robot employment, a bit on the future, and what the results of the study are. Scope of the study focused on a number of what are believed to be large industries for both robotics and large industries in general: automotive, electronics, food and beverage, chemicals and related industries, and metalworking and foundries. The scope of the study also covered 6 specific countries used to correlate the data between robots and employment, and these seem to be a good representation of the overall economy. Clearly, there are a number of economic factors that get weaved into this study and affect the results of the study. The retrenchment of the workforce, globalization, a trend that's been going on for obviously a number of years here. The accelerating pace of technological development, demographics and skills, wage levels, and then legislation. From a market standpoint, there are obviously some big drivers that are affecting the use of robots, emerging economies, China and India in particular, also Brazil. Enhancements in technology that are really starting to affect the capabilities of not only products but also robots. Lifestyle trends, the demographics and population growth in the world, the availability of labor, the aging population, and skills, which is really one of the big contributors to the emergence of robotics. So if you look at the data, there's been, from 2000 to 2011, there's been an increase in employment. Manufacturing employment has dropped. However, if you put it in aggregate, it's really been more of a retrenchment of manufacturing employment rather than an overall global drop. And it coincides with an increase in output and an increase in the use of automation technology such as robots, with the exception of Japan. We'll speak about Japan specifically in a moment. More jobs gained in total than lost in manufacturing. And these new jobs have been in new industries, distribution, services, and new applications. And one of the things that the study will talk to is that robots not only allow companies to be more effective in terms of their existing manufacturing, but enable the production of new capabilities and new products that were not possible in the past. A couple of snapshots, and there's a number of these in more detail in the study. We'll not cover them here today, but one of the correlations that was looked at in the study was unemployment rates and the number of robots installed in various countries. And so if you go country by country, you can see really a very fair amount of variability from country to country. But you can see in markets where there is emergence, like Brazil and in China, the rate of growth of robots has been substantial. And in the case of Brazil, there's been a substantial reduction in the unemployment rate in that country. In China, the unemployment rate has held steady, but the rate of adoption of robots has increased substantially. If you move to the next set of charts, and you look at Germany, Germany's unemployment rate peaked in the mid-2000s and has come down dramatically over the last 7 years, as has the opposite effect of the robots, which have grown substantially in that same period of time. If you look at the United States, the growth of robots has been almost as pronounced as it is in Germany. The unemployment rate did peak in 2010, a sharp spike based off of the credit crisis, and unemployment has been falling for the last 2 years. This study is a follow-up to a study that was conducted 2 years ago. And so the update, if you look at the conclusions that were drawn in the first version of the study and correlate them to the new conclusions, clearly robots substantially increase the ability to produce high precision, consistent production at a low cost. And that has increased in value since the last time we did the study. If you look at work conditions and job safety, obviously with a larger unemployment rate, this has been less an issue, but you certainly look to places like China and some of the steps that are being taken to make the workplace a safer place, and robots are a key part of being able to make that happen. And then lastly, low-cost labor versus high-cost labor. Robots are one of the key attributes that's allowing countries in high-cost labor markets to remain competitive in low-cost labor markets. And there are some great studies that I think we'll talk about on the panel that really support that premise. Some other observations that come out of the study: Korea has seen a huge increase in the use of robots in their country and has now moved to one of the highest densities in the world in terms of robots per capita. Very impressive growth. The USA is substantially below the other major countries in terms of robotic density, about half of Japan, Germany, and Korea. And then Germany and Japan are right up there with Korea's high density. Some other observations that are made in the study: skills is going to be an ongoing topic. I think what we are seeing is a rebalancing of the workforce, and retraining is a critical piece of the evolution of a manufacturing economy, and certainly the evolution of robotics into the manufacturing sector. It's been well documented that this recovery that started 2 years ago around the world has resulted in fewer jobs, in part as companies have tried to remain lean and more efficient as they have moved their businesses forward. The service sector continues to grow and becoming a bigger portion of the overall growth domestic product of really all of the Western world. Some of the new industries that have been created, new technologies, really owe their progress and their success to the use of automation that has enabled those industries to move forward. And lastly, the study did look at the electric automobile industry, and that has been at a slower pace than was initially perceived, and you'll see that difference in the study. One of the most documented and powerful uses of robots has been to allow countries with high labor rates to remain competitive against countries with much lower labor rates. The study bears that out, really speaks to the benefit of how automation allows manufacturing to be equalized around the world. For those of you who saw the 60 Minutes article that we were part of, there was a discussion about a Philips factory in the Netherlands that was able to show that a highly automated factory that produces a consumer electronic device like a razor was able to be lower cost than producing that same product in China with direct labor. And I think that's a real good case study of how automation has continued to make manufacturing equal in various segments around the world. The U.S. has lost several million jobs over the last 10 years in the manufacturing sector, about 20% of the entire manufacturing jobs. A large portion of those have been related to the electronics industry and the move from domestic internal manufacturing by OEMs to contract manufacturing and outsourcing, and largely the evolution of those to China. That trend has resulted in a substantial trade imbalance. The positive news is that robots have the potential to reverse that trend. The study speaks about potential new activities, jobs that can be created over the next decade. Clearly, one of the big drivers of jobs in the last couple of decades has been the evolution of new products. New products with the aid of technology are coming at a faster and faster pace. You need to look at industries like the mobile phone market and to see that the accelerated pace of product development. Typically, those product developments result in the opportunity for new jobs. Same thing in the manufacture of robots. In particular, new segments like service robots that are largely in their infancy will carry a much bigger prominence over the next decade. And new industries like renewable energies will also provide an opportunity for job growth based off of the growth of those industries. Expansion of existing economies and industries, obviously automotive being the biggest. The evolution of smaller and medium-sized enterprises who will start to use automation technologies like robots to be able to make them more competitive. Food continues to be a large opportunity for automation and robotics, and there's the growth of the industry to support those industries. The study forecasts that between 2012 and 2020, there's a total potential creation by the robot industry alone of between 1.9 and 3.5 million jobs that will be created. This is related to new product development, the expansion of current industries, and then what I call the halo effect, the indirect jobs get created as a result of these industries. If I summarize this a little further, and you look back up to 2008, the robot industry has been either directly or indirectly responsible for the creation of between 8 and 10 million jobs globally. From 2008 to 2011, it was much more modest, 500 to 750, in part because of the global credit crisis and recession. As you look to the future, between 2012 and 2016, and then 2016 and beyond, there will be another 1.5 million to 2 million jobs that have the potential to be created over those time periods. So again, a positive effect of robots on the manufacturing employment and jobs throughout the economy. But at the end of the day, the expectation is between direct employment and indirect employment, there's potential for another 8 to 10 million jobs that will be created over the next decade in robotics. Okay? Thank you.